You're listening to Prosper in the Kingdom, the podcast where faith meets practical strategies to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Join hosts John Cleaver and Wendy Lee as they share insights to equip you in your journey toward abundance, spiritually, financially, and beyond. Just a reminder, every situation is unique. The content of this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as specific financial or medical advice.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Prosper in the Kingdom. I'm your host, John C., with the ever amazing Wendy Lee. How are you doing, Wendy?
Doing great. Happy you're back.
I am too. I was on December hit hard, folks. Man, I don't know what type of flu. Well, I know what type I had. I had type A flu, and I was down for a couple of weeks and followed it up with double pink eye. But you know what? I got some personal development time in my head and crushed Game of Thrones. So what an amazing show that is. Still not done. I didn't finish the whole 8 seasons. I wasn't that out, but yeah, so I'm feeling about 80% and glad to be back here with you, Wendy, and all of our awesome listeners on our podcast. So, hey, guess what, folks? 2025, man, we are wrapping it up. And it's crazy how fast this. I don't know. Did it seem like it went fast to you, Wendy?
So I saw a post the other day, and this is how I feel. It explained it perfectly. I feel like it's gone really fast, but then when I think about the first half of the year, I literally feel like January through June was one year, and June through now was a different year. Okay, I mean, I was trying to comprehend. Malachi was in college until May, and I feel like he's been out of college for at least a year. I feel very kind of confused about the time.
Yeah. Well, it's regardless, it's coming to a close. I mean, we've got not even a couple weeks left. But that's what we're going to talk about today. So as we close out another year, really, here's the hard truth, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Our whole purpose here, folks, is to help you become, everyday people, just like you, just like us, become healthy, wealthy, and wise through practical stewardship and real life strategies. And, as we close out this year, here's the hard truth that most people don't want to face. Another year has passed, and financially, not much has changed, right? You worked hard, you stayed busy, you paid some bills, but the money stress is still there, whether you're living paycheck to paycheck, or maybe it's not quite that tense, but you're still not where you thought you would be. And it just seems like that repetitive cycle. So that's what today's episode is about breaking that cycle and setting clear, achievable financial goals for 2026, not just wishful thinking, right? So we're going to kind of touch on a little bit of the 3M framework, and you're going to hear that term a lot this year. 3M framework: make, manage, multiply. 3 M's, see? And we're going to anchor it to... I know, right? Hey, I'm all about keep it simple. So, no bouginess here, folks. Just hardcore, real life strategies that you can apply to your life and get your financial house in order. But we're going to anchor it today's conversation around 3 specific goals that can radically change your financial trajectory for 2026. So, let's kind of jump into that. So why do most financial goals fail? Well, I think, honestly, most financial goals, most people don't even set goals, right? You go to the end of the year. Maybe if you're in a white collar job, you've got what's called KPIs. And that's basically your boss setting your goals for you, right? But it doesn't deal with you personally or whatever. Or we come up with, financial goals or personal goals that are just too vague and too emotional, right? You get that emotional, I'm losing weight, right? Gyms are going to be filled in January. The people that work out every day, I'm not that guy. But the people that work out all the time hate January because they can't get on the equipment and stuff like that, because everybody and their brother's there until, mid-February, and then it goes back to normal. But looking at the financial house, we've got, I want to save more, or get out of debt, or build wealth someday. I want to build wealth. Okay, well, those aren't plans. They're intentions. And don't get me wrong, it's a step in the right direction, but they're not plans, right? So go ahead.
Yeah. So goals without plans, like, now what? It's just, you look back at the end of the year and you're like, well, I hit it or I didn't. Most of the time we didn't, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a lot of it, Wendy. It's, those aren't plans. Those are hopes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get out of debt. Okay, I hope I get out of debt. I hope it's not an actual action item, right?
Right.
And, we want to tie prosper in the kingdom, right? We're going to tie this into biblical. Proverbs 21:5 tells us the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. The plans of the
Mhm.
diligent, create a goal, create a plan to get to that goal, and then put action behind it, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But again, it's all about plans, not hope. So if 2026 is going to be different, and I want you guys, if you're taking notes, write this down. If 2026 is going to be different for you this year, and it can be, it's not hard. It requires structure, it requires focus, and it requires execution. That's where the 3M framework comes in, right? So let's jump into kind of number one, Wendy.
Yeah.
Where's the first step we take for 2026?
Yeah. Well, financially, right? To the starting point is we've got to make money. We've got to
More money.
generate income. And so, looking at whatever, if you had a full-time job last year, if you work in corporate, if you have a set salary and you're not making ends meet, you're not making enough to be able to save, to build your emergency fund, to do the things, pay off the debt,
Mhm.
then you might need to make more by adding some extra streams of income. Find a way to create an extra $500 to $1,000 per month, right? That you can start to direct that money. Because here's the thing, you need
L-
margin. And
Yeah, let
in
me
all
let me let me
reality,
jump in here.
yep.
Let me jump in here real quick. So, I don't want to just gloss over that, create an extra 500 or $1,000, because I know a lot of you, well, maybe not a lot. I know some of you out there thinking, there's no way in hell I can do that. What am I going to do to make okay, here's the bottom line. And I want to be real with you guys right now. There are so many ways to make money out there. And I'm not talking the sketchy stuff. I'm not talking, oh, I can show feet pictures or whatever. No, I'm not talking about any of that nastiness, right? I'm talking like legit ways to create an extra 500 or $1,000. So I know a lot of you are thinking, I can't do that. There's no way I can find that, blah, blah. Stop making excuses. Okay. Flip your mindset to this. What can I do to create an extra $500 a month?
Mhm.
And figure it out.
Mhm.
Stop playing small ball. Stop thinking that, oh, I can't do that. Everybody can. Everybody on here can come up with an extra $500 or $1,000 a month. Okay. It's just a matter of, are you willing to work a little harder? Are you willing to get a little creative? Are you willing to stop buying your own excuses on why you can't do something? And when you get that serious about making changes, your life is going to change. Not just your 2026, but your life is going to change. Okay. So I just wanted to add that.
Good stuff. Thanks for the ad. But no, and here's the thing is that $500 to $1,000 a month, it's not hard to find a way to do that. And it can create significant transformational changes when you handle it the right way. Part of my problem in the past was I'd increase my income, but I'd also increase my lifestyle, right? The goal is you increase your income this coming year, but you do not change. You don't increase your lifestyle. You don't change the way you live by spending more. You steward what you have better. And so, your income is your greatest wealth building tool, not what you have sitting in your 401k, right? Learning how to generate more income and, again, doing the right things with your money is what's going to create that wealth for you. And that extra income is going to create some breathing room for you. Maybe who could use a little bit less stress, get some control back. And so 2026 is going to start with increasing cash flow, right? That first M in the 3M wealth framework is make money. So how can you find a way to make more money? And throwing a few things out there, like if you guys, we have like 6 different ways to help you make more money if you're looking for something. So reach out to us if you want to find a way to add some income to your bottom line monthly.
Yes, for you. Sorry, I thought you were going to keep going there. So the second thing, and Winnie kind of touched on a little bit too, is okay. Now I'm making the money. How do I manage it, right? And what do most people do? All of a sudden, you start making some extra money. You start blowing the money.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the lack of discipline. This is why you are where you are financially. And I want you to ask yourself: am I at this point in my life? Am I where I thought I would be financially?
No.
Okay, if the answer is no, you need to stop doing the same old things. Okay. Maybe it's time to kind of mix it up. Maybe it's time to start getting serious about it. And this is where the discipline separates people, right? I was going to say the winners and losers, but it's not that simple. It's just you've got to realize what I've been doing hasn't been working, so I need to make a change. So don't upgrade your lifestyle, like Wendy said, right? New income should not mean new stuff. I mean, let's be honest. You're probably. I just took a ton of stuff to Goodwill this past week. I'm like, I need to get rid of this crap. Went through my closet. If I haven't worn it in the last year, it's gone, right? And I took literally 2 boxes of clothes. I'm like, why, right? Because we get caught up in it. I'm just as guilty as the next person, right? And that's why we have these little reminders, right? So you want to get out of debt. Debt steals your future income and your peace. Okay. You're buying crap that you don't need with money that you don't have. And you think, oh, it's okay because I can afford it X per month, $20 a month, $100 a month, right? Well, that's the never ending story. If you're a Gen Xer, you know the movie, right? It's kind of the same thing, but you've gone to never ending debt hell. I'll just say it, right? Because it never goes away. That extra $500 or $1,000 per month has one primary job, actually 2. Get you out of debt and start stacking cash for the future, right? I'm not a big fan of the do one thing and then move to the next and move to the next because it wastes too much time. And if you're one of those people that listen to that other radio show, that's fine. Great if you sleep better at night. But I'm going to tell you right now, you waste a lot of opportunity and time doing it that way.
Yeah.
But on just the debt alone, get rid of that high interest debt first. I like the debt snowball, but whatever works for you, right? Just get rid of it. Get rid of it and stop adding to it. Momentum. And, so start with the high interest debt, start with the low balance debt, whichever one you want to go, and then start stacking it on and paying it off, get that momentum going. And then what's after that? Freedom. Okay. And now you're clearing that runway for wealth. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add on that before we
just talking about debt, because this is something like I think I've finally really understand. And part of it is one of the books John and I did in our book club was called The 5 Wealth Secrets 96% Don't Know. And they dig into debt and from a biblical perspective, back, and I want to tell this real quick. He talks about back when Moses was building the first temple. He would tell people, hey, here's what you need to bring so we can build the temple. And there came a point that he had to say, stop bringing your supplies, your resources. We have plenty. And why is it that now in the church and in the Christian community, everybody's broke and not able to give? And it's because we've allowed the enemy to use the tool of debt to literally strap our hands, to chain us, to keep us from being generous. Right? It's robbing, not just, and I think we think, oh, debt is hard for us. No, the debt that you have isn't just holding you captive for your own family, but it's also robbing the people that you could be a blessing to with your gifts and talents. Because
your family, your church, the kids you see, the homeless people, all the people out there that could, and then don't get me wrong, I'm not saying just, just whatever, but as Christians, we should be generous. And that's why it's in the Bible, Proverbs 22:7, the borrower is slave to the lender. Okay. That isn't, that excludes credit cards or that. No, the borrower is a slave to the lender because you are trading your future for interest. Okay. You're trading your future, and it's not the banks. Hey, you don't need to go out and do X, Y, or Z, to borrow that money or, rack up that debt, things like that. Find a way, build a spending plan, live within your means, right? But find a way. And, again, starting with that extra money, start getting out of debt, and then jumping into 3. What's the big third one, Wendy?
Is we want to multiply our money, build wealth on purpose. And honestly, if we don't get a plan in place, that's kind of how we started this whole thing, right? Setting a goal without a plan. If you don't get a plan in place, you're literally just throwing darts in the dark. And that's before I got my financial plan with you, John, however many years ago. I knew nothing about what I was doing. I had no control. And the Lord calls us to be stewards and to take what he's given us and steward well. And when you have no idea where your money is going, I mean, I can't tell you the number of people we talk to. It's very rare that we have clients that we talk to that know where their money is going. And even when they think they do, right? That's there's a leak somewhere. And so when you get that debt under control, you can start multiplying, and not that all the debt's paid off, but you have a plan for it, right? Then we plan to multiply, and you do that, build wealth through the consistency, thinking long-term instead of this short term, got to have it today mentality with everything. And then by building in protection and strategy. And so thinking that long term and not, we live in such a instant gratification world. And it's sad to see people in their 50s and 60s and literally like have no retirement in sight because they were living for today for all their years. And so, and wealth isn't unbiblical. I think people sometimes, I know I grew up kind of thinking that, right? Like having money, building wealth, it's not against the word of God, but the mismanagement of the funds and not doing right with your money is.
Well, and you do it that you take that no plan approach, right? Living for today. And the next thing you know, you look up and you're like, oh man, I'm 55. What am I going to do? Because here's the reality of it. You talk to, and especially you talk to young people want to retire, so to speak, at 55. So you retire at 55, and that's 99% of the people out there. That's a pipe dream. I'm just going to keep it real, right? Because reality is you retire at 55, you're going to last more than likely to 85, 90. And that's only getting longer, folks. Okay. So that's 30 years. You're going to need an income. And don't buy the line out there that, oh, you'll have less money or need less money in retirement. That is so much bumpkiss, right? Because
especially if you're still young.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can actually do things now, and you got every day's a Saturday, right? So that whole thing's going to go away. And you look at the debt, taxes aren't going down, folks. Okay, income tax is not going down. So we're historically, if you look at the highest tax rate we've ever had in the United States was 96%. Okay. That was back in the 50s. Okay. 96%. Right now it's sitting, I think, at 38, 39%. And the deficit keeps going up. I mean, we're almost at 40 trillion now. And I'm a little older, but I'm not that old. I remember when it went to 11 trillion and everybody was freaking out. That's when I was, graduated college. I first started paying attention to all this stuff. And you would have thought the world was going to end. And now it's like no big deal. Oh yeah, it's just out there. That chicken's going to come home to roost, right?
Yeah.
So you need to prepare your house, get out of debt, start stacking wealth for yourself, your family, and make sure it's generational wealth, right? And it all starts with that first step, $500 to $1,000. And I know a lot of you, blah, blah. You can do it. I'm here to tell you, you can do it. If you don't know how, get with us. We'll show you how. But there are so many ways out there. And then get out of debt. Debt should be the enemy. Now, I'm not like, the others out there that say all debt is bad. There is good debt and there is bad debt. Okay. Credit card debt, bad debt. All right. Going out and buying a new car, bad debt. The minute you roll that sucker off the lot, it's going to go down 20%. You would never buy any kind of an investment vehicle that lost 20% within 15 minutes of you closing. Right. So you got to treat it like that. It's all about creating cash flow. All about creating cash flow. So, why are 3M framework right? I don't want to keep beating that horse. So number one, most financial plans fail because they start in the wrong place. Okay. They try to invest before they have a margin. You're talking to somebody from, one of the box stores out there, hey, they're in the mall or next to the strip mall. I'm going to pop in there, we need to start putting, when you start investing money. Okay. You need to get your whole financial house in order. That's why the PITK framework, we talk about holistic approach to what's going on with your money. Okay. We've got to show you how to make the margin first. You got to make the money. Okay. You've got to manage that money with intentionality, right? And then you multiply with purpose. Okay. But the reason most traditional financial plans fail is because, like I said, they start at the wrong play. They try to invest before they have margin. They save without direction. They just start throwing it into the market. Oh, put it in the market. That's what everybody else is. Yeah. How's that working out so far, folks? They hope discipline shows up later. Okay. You got to start with the basics, right? The blocking and tackling, keeping it simple. And then, simple may be boring, but guess what? It's effective. Okay. So, again, not to, we're not trying to beat anybody up here. Okay. But I guess the challenge from today's episode is really looking at, do you want to be in the same place this time next year? Okay. And I would go back to my original question, ask yourself, am I where I thought I would be at this point in my life? Am I where I would be financially? And if the answer is no, it's time to make some changes, right? Yeah. Don't drift into 2026. Decide right now, how will I make more? Okay. And I'm not talking about your 4% raise from your boss or whatever like that. That's keeping up with inflation. That's not really increasing your income, right? Figure out a way, like Wendy said, how do I make $500 to $1,000? Ask yourself, number two, and make that decision. How will I manage my money better? Is it getting a spending plan? Is it getting out of debt? Is it building a plan for wealth? Is it getting my, estate plan in order in case something, God forbid, happens to you this year? And then lastly, how will I multiply wisely? Okay. There's a strategy out there, protected asset classes. I love it. It's leveraging index growth, and there's hedges to keep you from market loss. And we also talk about taxes. So you need to be looking at all of those things. So if you want help mapping this out clearly, personally and professionally, we've built a simple starting point, right? Simply go to get your free financial roadmap. We'll give you a free plan through our advisors and agents with Prosper in the Kingdom. Go to safemoneyroadmap.com. I'll put the link below. But again, make sure that you get a plan in place and don't just drift around in 2026. But a reminder, it's not about perfection. It's about stewardship, clarity, and momentum. So anything else to add, Wendy?
Yeah. Just that I would just encourage people, like, reach out, get your financial plan. We do it at no cost to you if you're watching this show. SafeMoneyRoadmap.com. Get a plan so you can walk into the new year feeling empowered with knowing what steps to take to get ahead next year, right? To really see a difference in your financial situation, and to stop feeling like you're running the rat race. Because I feel like, it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'll get to that, and then a whole year passes. So just do it.
Yep. Just do it. There you go. I think that's somebody else's trademark. So we're not claiming that for ourselves. But just a reminder, let's get serious, folks. Okay. Let's make 2026 a year you put your money and it finally lines up with your purposes, right? That's and you can do it. I know you can. I have full faith in you. If you need help, reach out to us. But everybody, I hope this was a good episode for you. If it was, do us a favor. Show some love, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, share it with your friends, repost it, share it, whatever. We're just trying to grow the channel and give free information and to help people in God's kingdom get financially fit. So everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next week on another Prosper in the Kingdom. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Prosper in the Kingdom. If this episode added value to your day, be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with someone who could use the encouragement. For more resources, head to prosperinthekingdom.com. Let's continue building lives of purpose and abundance, one step at a time.